Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today is going to be all about the Big Book Summer Reading Challenge. So this challenge has been going on for a really long time now, and this is just the first time that I've decided to join in. I thought it'd be fun, and I thought that it would also help me to read some of my bigger books, because in the past I've always tended to read more shorter books to reach whatever reading goal that I had that year. So this year I really want to try to read more big books this year. So with me doing this challenge, I thought that it could help with that. Here I have my big books that I have. I've got quite a few here, and I'm not going to be reading all of these. I don't think I can do that, but I'm hoping to finish at least 2 here on this pile. Okay, so I have my notes here. So this Big Book Summer Reading Challenge for 2026 this year is hosted by Sue Jackson and Melinda at A Web of Stories. And this is going to take place during May 22nd up till September 7th. So we've got a really long time to be able to finish one big book, and if you want to read more big books, then that's up to you. But for this challenge, you just need to read one big book, and a big book is basically a book that has 400 pages or more. But I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently. I'm not going to be following the 400 plus pages for my books, just because, you know, different books have like different font sizes and stuff, and the size of the actual pages as well are different. So for me, what I've decided to do to help me sort of pick the books that I will be reading is that the books will need to have 150,000 words or more. So that is my criteria for a big book. So all of these books that I have that I'm going to show you are more than 150,000 words. I've also taken note of like the approximate word count of each of the books, just so you guys have a bit of an idea on how long these books actually are. So let's get started on the books that I've chosen. I'm not going to be reading all of the books that I have here, but these are my choices. These are the books that I can pick from. So the first one, this one, I've already started reading this, and I believe that I can finish it during this period. So this one is The Last Ever After by Soman Chainani. I have already started this. I am on chapter 7 at the moment. What page is this? Page 93. So this is the first book that I would like to finish during this challenge, and this book has approximately 156,798 words. According to Google, that is what it told me. I don't actually know what the exact word count is for this book, but the approximate is over 150,000 words. So it fits my criteria for a big book. So this is book number 1. And then the second book that I would like to read and hopefully finish as well is The Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough. And this book has around 280,000 words. So this book has a lot more words than this. And it makes sense because I don't know if you can see from the font of this. It's quite big in comparison to something like this, where it has like a smaller font, and I think they're around the same. No, this book is also smaller too, as you can see. I don't have a more exact approximate word count for this book. It's so weird trying to search up the word count for this. It gave me like 280,000 words. It gave me around like 500,000 words, which I'm not sure if that's correct, but that was one of the answers from when I searched on Google. But I just went with the 280,000 words. I just feel like that seems more realistic compared to 500,000 words. So yeah, anyway, this is the second book on my list of choices. And then the next book that I have is Aragon by Christopher Paolini. This has around 157,000 words. So it's very similar to The Last Ever After. But again, the size difference of these books, like Aragon is smaller and also has smaller font, I believe. Yeah, just slightly smaller font, and also has like bigger margins as well, which I just noticed. I've also started reading this, but I think I only read like the first chapter of this. And then the last book here that I've written down is Dan Brown's Deception Point. This has around 184,250 words. So this is another choice that I have. This is very different compared to the other books, and I'm really glad that I have like a variety of like different genres to choose from. Like The Last Ever After and Aragon are very similar. They're both like YA fantasy books, but this one's a bit more lighthearted in comparison to Aragon. I feel like Aragon has like higher stakes, just from what I've read. And then Thornbirds is more of like a lit fic sort of book, literary fiction, historical fiction sort of book. And then Dan Brown's Deception Point is like a thriller, from what I remember. Yeah, it says here a rocket fast thriller. So yeah, I've got like a bunch of different genres here. If I'm feeling bored or if I'm like not in the mood to read something, I can just like switch to something else. So yeah, anyway, this is the last book that I've written down for this list. However, I also have this other big book, but I don't know if I'm gonna include this one here just because this is another fantasy YA sort of book, but it's also an omnibus. So I don't know if this should count in my list here. I'm just gonna include it in this video in the case that I do end up choosing to read this one. So this is his Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. And then this one has around 390,000 to 400,000 words in total for all three books. I don't know if I'm gonna be reading this. I don't know if I'm gonna count this, but I do have it. So this could be an option, I guess. So that is it for my video of my books to read for this Big Book Summer Reading Challenge. Let me know in the comments down below if you're also going to be participating in this challenge as well. You can also add this reading challenge to your story graph. I've already done it. I'll have the link down below if you'd like to also add it to your story graph and to help you sort of keep track of how you're doing in the challenge and what books you've read. So yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!